The Washington State Cougars have arrived in Seattle looking to exercise the Pac-10 Demons. Inside Heck-Ed, a new era of Husky hoops unfolds tonight. Three-sport phenom Nate Robinson makes his first collegiate start on the hardwood. It's Apple Cup, basketball style. The Huskies and the Cougars are next on Fox Sports Net. High energy inside the splendidly remodeled Bank of America Arena Heck Edmondson Pavilion. It's an interstate matchup. The Washington State Cougars at 5-12. The Washington Huskies at 7-10. Good evening, I'm David Locke. Glad to be with you. It is a rivalry, but to be perfectly honest, neither of these teams are in a position right now to worry about the other side. Both of them struggling a little bit. I'm joined tonight by Bill Kruger, and from the Washington Huskies standpoint, the good news, they're at home.
And they've been good at home. This ball club, 6-4 so far this season, 12 underclassmen for first-year coach Lorenzo Romar, and 2 big Pac-10 wins, beating USC and Stanford. How'd they do it? Pressure, turnovers, second chance points on the glass, getting above the rim, lots of energy. That's what it's going to take for this club to beat Washington State tonight.
If Lorenzo Romar is going to get his program where he wants it to be, it's going to be because he finds a star somewhere.
Well, last year's star was clearly Doug Wren. 19 a game, 12 times over 20 points, 4 times over 30 points. He's passing the baton, though. He's coming off the bench because 5'7" Nate Robinson, it's his coming out party. He's going to take over the leadership of this team. If you have not seen this young man play, I'll tell you what, he can take it off the glass, go end to end, and ram it over a big guy. He is a special talent.
From Washington State's standpoint, there really aren't a lot of happy things to tell you about, particularly when Paul Graham's club goes on the road. Now, part of it's been injuries, but really when this team leaves Pullman, it has not been a pretty story. The losing streak has been tremendous. They haven't won on the road in almost 2 years. The last time they won on the road was against Arizona State, and that's one worry for Paul Graham. Now, on the other end of things, he says the one bigger problem they have is they don't know how to get over the hump and win ball games.
And it's tough when you've lost what amounts to a starting lineup to injury, including all-league point guard Marcus Moore, who gives you 19 a game. He's done for the year with ankle surgery. So the good news is these 5 guys outside of Moore are going to be available to Paul Graham tonight. He's going to need them.
There is a little buzz in the arena, and that's because it is a rivalry, even if the numbers on the marquee don't glitter quite the way they could. Paul Graham's wondering who it is going to be other than Marcus Moore to carry his team through the night. And Lorenzo Romar wonders whether or not he's got a guy to carry him through the second half of the Pac-10 season. We'll find out next on Fox Sports Net. Welcome back inside Bank of America Arena. David Locke along with Bill Kruger on a Friday night in Seattle, Washington. The Huskies and the Cougars. Well, for the Washington Huskies, Lorenzo Romar is going to have to face up against a pretty quick team in Washington State. Start with their front court. Huey's going to play power forward, which is going to be a tough matchup a little bit for him today.
Yeah, he's given up some size there, but he likes to play back to the basket, so we'll see him get some inside points. And Kortsmeyer, 7-footer that's still learning. He's coming out of the JC ranks.
Over onto the backcourt, they are really without their star, Marcus Moore. Nick Graham is the coach's son, but this team has really now become Pilates Club as their main scorer.
Yeah, he's had a nice ascension this year, but he didn't expect to be a point. Now, he played that at Walla Walla High School, a little different in the Pac-10. Nick Graham's in for ball handling duties. Schlatter can really shoot the 3, transfer from St. Mary's. Pressure on these guys to get through the Washington press.
And their head coach is Paul Graham, 15 years as an assistant, trying to get this thing right at 29-71 as a head coach for Washington State. Lorenzo Romar has got a starting lineup that has 4 freshmen and 1 sophomore today. All the front court guys are freshmen.
Young group that's still learning. Anthony Washington still fighting an ankle problem. Bobby Jones, you got to love his energy and his package. Very electric athlete. Mike Jensen, 2 years where he didn't play basketball because of suspension injury. So he's still a babe in learning, but this front court has got some potential.
And if there's a veteran, which is probably an oxymoronic comment, it's Will Conroy. The man everyone around Montlake is talking about is Nate Robinson.
Yeah, Will Conroy has made a terrific improvement, probably the most improved player in the Pac-10, leading his team in scoring, a guy that hardly played last year. Nate Robinson, as we've spoken to, there isn't really a package like him in basketball anywhere. A 5'7" player that can play above the rim, do the things that Nate does.
And Lorenzo Romar, the first-year head coach of the Washington Huskies, tells us about a starting lineup that has 4 freshmen and 1 sophomore.
When we played Stanford, it was a lot was made mention of the fact that we were in the game with 4 freshmen and a sophomore toward the end of the game, and I never thought freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I see guys that have energy, guys that play intense basketball, that are working together.
Lorenzo Romar just trying to find the combination. When we were at shoot-around today, I was kidding him. Coach, you got to be hit by a 2x4 in this business to be able to start 4 freshmen. And then I smiled at him and said, or have a lot of confidence in what you're building.
I think the big thing is he's more concerned with talent and teamwork, and this team is going to be a good ball club as time goes on. The test will be, can they improve in the second half of play when freshmen become sophomores and sophomores become juniors?
Now there will be the point guard matchup. Paul Graham's son, Nick, right there. The key for Washington and for Washington State, we talked about in the open, is which one of these guys will start making plays. Because you can do all the coaching and all the execution you want, but at some point along the line, guys just have to make plays.
And neither team really has an established star, Marcus Moore being out and Doug Wren not starting, so the personality of these players is going to have to come out.
And foul on the opening possession. And it's a hold down low on Chris Slatter, Washington State.
Real key for Washington, better execution in the half court. They're great in transition, but once they get in the half court, they tend to bog down, not move the basketball.
Well, both these teams have struggled miserably when it gets to shooting in the Pac-10. Nate Robinson with the opening field goal. Washington is up 2-0. Here's Colati, number 11, with the ball. He's become their leading scorer now.
Great three-point shooter, one of the best in the Pac-10.
Washington State will run 4 men around the outside with 1 guy down low. It's Eddie Sutton's Oklahoma State offense, where Paul Graham used to be a coach. Slatter's missed shot outside, rebound offensive to Washington State. And Huey back up with it. It got goaltended. That'll count for 2. Believe it or not, this is the 253rd meeting of these teams. Last year they split. Actually, it was Washington State's last win in the Pac-10 a year ago today when they beat the Washington Huskies. Last year here, the Huskies got the best of the Cougars, 82-75. And that got the Huskies into the Pac-10 tournament, which is online for them again this year. It's kind of the underlying one of this is the final game of the first half of the Pac-10 season for Lorenzo Romar. And this club's got to keep itself in position to make that Pac-10 tournament down at the Staples Center.
And that's a good goal, and this is a game they have to win if they're going to get within those top 8 spots.
Conroy is the leading scorer for the Huskies, inside to Mike Jensen. Offensive rebound to the energetic Bobby Jones and a one-hand flush for Anthony Washington.
Good to see Anthony get off the ground. He was playing on one leg during the shoot-around. He didn't look like that ankle was bothering him right there.
You see the movement out of Washington State. And they got the 1 guy in the post. The Huskies are going to front down low, make it tough to insert it. Kordsmeyer hits the 14-footer.
And that's the real good part of his game right now. Not a great box player, but a good shooter for a 7-footer.
Conroy sloppy with the basketball, turns it over. And then picks up a foul, trying to deal with Colati. You mentioned that Thomas Colati out of Walla Walla High School is struggling with his role. It's very similar for those people who've watched Gonzaga, and I know you've done a bunch of their games on Fox Sports Net, to his high school teammate Kyle Bankhead, who both coaches are like, come on, shoot, play a little bit more aggressive. They're so used to the team concept out of Walla Walla High School.
And Kalani didn't put up big numbers in high school. They were 12, 14 points a game. You know, they just had a balanced ball club.
Renzo Romar does not agree with the foul call on Anthony Washington. He's first. Officials are keeping this one close early.
Huskies had a lot of problems with fouls down at Oregon State the second half of that trip.
Huskies want to push the Cougars offense out. They've done that so far. Kalani able to penetrate and loses it out of bounds. Kalani had 18 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist. But he did have 7 turnovers in that last game.
And that's because he's having to shift to that point guard role. He's a natural 2-guard with great shooting range, and this is a big stretch, and this will be a big test for him against the pressure defense of Washington. And Washington's going to get up on people. This Washington State club does not have a great inside attack, so they're going to get up on the perimeter guys.
And evidently Paul Graham's instructed his team to throw some elbows to clear some space on the, it's quite obvious right there, and the officials keeping this one close. Paul Graham mentioned, saw him there 15 years as an assistant, was so excited. I did his coach's show for 2 years on the Cougar Radio Network. What a good man, and so excited to have his first break after all these years of waiting. He may not have understood how hard it is to win in Pullman.
And this is the year, really the 4th year, when you look at the ascension of Raveling and Sampson. Their 4th year they started to win. That's why Paul Graham's expected to win this year, his 4th year.
Nate Robinson, number 2, has it, averaging 11 points a game. Now to Washington, who picked up his 2nd foul just a moment ago. Good patience by the Huskies. Conroy with the reverse, but it's no good.
Nifty hesitation, just couldn't get it to go down.
Quick ball movement. Huey down low inside the Giants. Couldn't finish it. Huey's just 6'6" and maybe shorter. Washington State with another 2nd opportunity. And they turn it over.
Yeah, there's an interesting match right now between Jensen and Huey, and right now Huey's having his way with Mike Jensen.
Doug Wren has checked in for the first time. Number 24. Wren tied with Conroy, leading the team in scoring at 13 points a game. In the Pac-10, he is the team's leading scorer at 14. And the matchup with him and Huey, something the Huskies want to expose. Curtis Allen checking in for the first time, misses the shot. And turnover, double dribble on Kalani. 2nd turnover on Washington State. We mentioned the 7 turnovers already last week, but the Huskies now suddenly showing a little bit of a rhythm.
2-guard set. The way to relieve pressure is a nice blind peg. Good pass by Doug Wren. Curtis Allen couldn't quite finish, but nice execution.
And Bill, that goes to what we talked about in the open. Someone's got to make plays. When that's, the coaches can only draw that up so well, someone's got to finish it.
And that's the big thing. Lorenzo's had a hard time initiating too much, strategy with this young ball club.
Anthony Washington's made 2 plays today with his 2nd tip in of the day.
Playing with a lot of energy and really having his way on the offensive glass.
Traveling, 3rd turnover on Washington State. And that's 3 in a row, in fact.
Caught Doug Wren in the front. Good execution. Huey just couldn't finish the play.
Nate Robinson making his first start of the season. How's it different for him starting versus coming off the bench?
Well, I think it's a lot different because now he's involved in getting the team into offense and really becoming a leader rather than just coming in and providing energy.
The Washington State Cougars, despite all their road woes, have a nice start right now. They lead 7-6. The Huskies are doing it on the offensive glass, where Washington State's doing it with the pure, crisp jumpers. The Washington Huskies have regained the lead here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion, Bank of America Arena, 12-11. David Locke along with Bill Kruger. And Bill, they've done it because of the outside shot.
And they're going to have to knock down some 3-pointers against the zone. Nate got one from deep, and then Curtis Allen, a real important part of this team because they need his outside shooting. Missed the first couple, but nailed one there. So again, in order to loosen that zone up, they need that outside shooting threat.
Huskies are shooting just 39%. As you see today, they are 2 of 4 from 3, and that's what's keeping them in this ball game, and right now have the lead.
They've had some second chances. They've had 7 second chance points. That's going to be important, attacking the glass. But right now, Washington State got some healthy players, and they are controlling the tempo of this ball game.
Doug Wren thinks about the long bomb and takes it. To no avail. Nice rebound on the offensive end or defensive end for Milton Riley as he returns from his injury.
And that's exactly what Lorenzo does not want, and that's to see Doug Wren hold the ball in one place and then put up a non-rhythm shot.
Pilati with a bounce pass to Riley. Foul on Will Conroy. That's his second. It's interesting, this group that's out there right now for Washington State. First, let's look at the great drive by Pilati.
Had a mismatch with Jensen on him. Good bounce pass feed. Will Conroy always getting his hands in the pass lane. Just had to come across the arm, got the foul.
This group out here now is a pretty healthy Washington State team, except for their star Marcus Moore, which means who's going to make plays? Who are the guys that are going to come through and be able to finish when everything else works perfectly?
Exactly. Marcus was always able to bail them out when offense didn't work right and make shots.
Foul on Jeffrey Day. They are really calling this very tightly today.
You know, Washington wants to play physical man-to-man defense, and right now the officials don't want to see this thing get out of hand. We said Shammy Gill has good perimeter skills. Here he going to work on Jeffrey Day. A little spin move. They catch Jeffrey with a little arm bar guard and got caught for it.
6th-team foul already on Washington. Doug Wren knocks the pass away. 12-11. Game has very much of the feel you'd expect out of a 5-12 and Washington State team and a 7-10 Washington Husky team. There isn't a lot of feel.
And the thing that's got to be a little disturbing right now for Lorenzo Romar is the tempo. Washington State is staying in their offense, running a lot of time off the clock and taking some of the rhythm away from Washington.
Pilati with a little bit of a force. Jeffrey Day with a rebound. Here comes Curtis Allen. Washington State does a wonderful job getting back defensively. And Jeffrey Day, who has struggled in Pac-10 play, shooting just 33%, couldn't finish that. But Mike Jensen shows his whole set of skills. A power forward stepping outside for another 3. Washington's 3rd of the game.
Really, right now, that's where Mike Jensen is comfortable, facing the basket.
And an offensive foul, another turnover for Washington State, and a scoring drought now exceeds 3 minutes for Washington State as Washington's on a 6-0 run. They're living by the 3. Now the old phrase is you live and you die by it. Are the Huskies playing with fool's gold right now, or is this how they're going to have to win this game?
Well, I'll tell you what, they're attacking that offensive glass. They're getting a lot of second chances. They just need to finish them.
Doug Wren will shoot 2 free throws.
Now that's a quality play by Doug Wren. Catch, a read, a hard penetrating drive into the lane, using his quick jumping skills. Don't hold the basketball, make a positive move, and that's exactly what Doug did right there.
Doug at 52% on the season from the free throw line. He's fiddled with his approach just about every game. And more returning players for Paul Graham's club. Number 32 right there is Ukegu, the 6'7" junior. He's already started 2 games this year. He had appendicitis. He came right after his best game of the year, 12 points against Arizona State. Washington extends their run to 7-0. Is it hard for all these guys back out on the floor together to have a rhythm, or have they played so much together that they know each other?
I think it's more of the conditioning factor is big.
McNair missed the first half of the season because he was academically ineligible. Riley misses the follow. Kegu trying to make an impact immediately, can't get the shot. And the scoring drought for Washington State continues.
A lot of good opportunities, just couldn't get it to go down.
That's making plays.
Riley gives them that athleticism on the glass.
Allen, another 3. Oh, the Huskies are dialing 1 before they shoot tonight. It is a long-distance fest for the Huskies. They're on a 10-0 run and lead by 8. Paul Graham wants a timeout to talk about it.
Nice quick reversal, but then Conroy reads it. Good ball fake. Goes back to Curtis Allen in the corner. He's got the rhythm going right now. Curtis, important guy. They need to be able to spread the defense, and Curtis Allen gives them that weapon.
Impressive since he was benched. Really, Nate Robinson started the night in place of Curtis Allen, who was just 3 of 9 in their game against Oregon State. Nice to see him bounce back. Fox Sports Net introduces 5-4-3-2-1, the only show taking you inside the world of extreme sports every weeknight. BMX rider Kip Williamson, free surfer Chad Towersey, and Leanne Tweeden are the experts bringing you the entire world of extreme sports, all in one place with breaking news, event highlights, insider features you won't find anywhere else. It's 5-4-3-2-1 tonight after Northwest Sports Report. Here's another. Sorry, Bill.
A little four-court press from Washington. If they make field goals, they can get into their pressure full-court defense.
Number 4 on the far side of your screen, Justin Lyman has now come in. He missed games earlier with a left foot injury. So really all 4 of the major injured players other than Marcus Moore have returned for Paul Graham. There's Lyman. He's out of junior college, Blinn Junior College, had 4 starts last year and 5 starts this year. You see it when we put up these graphics about Lyman from Missouri City, Texas. You notice most of the Washington State guys are from somewhere in the South. Almost all the Washington guys are from in-state and almost all from Seattle. Kaladi, who misses the front end of the 1-and-1 from Walla Walla, is one of the few Cougars from Washington. In fact, only one of 2.
Washington State has never recruited the west side of the state very well either. Not even when Sampson and Raveling were in power. So that's nothing unusual, but Paul Graham's connections are a lot in the Southwest, and that's why they have a lot of Southwest geographically placed players.
Brandon Roy checking in, Garfield High School, one of 3 Garfield High School Washington Huskies, another freshman. Went through the whole NCAA clearinghouse delay this year and has finally got his season going, but is still without a field goal. Here's McNair. Left-hander no good. Nice offensive rebound for Washington State. A 3rd opportunity, and they can't finish. There is a lid on the basket. The scoring drought for Washington State finally is snapped by Milton Riley.
Washington standing around as Washington State plays volleyball, finally gets one to go down.
It's a great volleyball program. You know, the women's side, particularly Purdue, kind of tried to get their coach this week, couldn't get him. Conroy fouled on his way to the basket. Dribble penetration has been successful for Washington so far.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. Will's done a good job of getting in the seams of the defense. He's done a real good job of quarterbacking the offense so far this evening.
As Will Conroy goes to the free throw line, Nate Robinson's going to check in on the free throw, and now Nate Robinson has been able to bring this team incredible energy off the bench all year. He was a starter tonight. Will he be able to bring them the same energy here that he has all season long?
I don't think there's any doubt. He's got plenty of energy. We saw this guy play 2 sports at the same time. So now he can concentrate on one. He's got plenty of energy to play one.
1 of 2 free throws good for Conroy. Riley, who has been very strong tonight since coming back from his back injury. McNair just hasn't been able to finish at all. Huskies looking to run. Robinson's out on the right side. Conroy, too fancy, loses the basketball.
Broke the cardinal sin, went past the free throw line, and more times than not, it's a turnover.
McNair finally finds a way with a 3 from the right wing. McNair shooting just 27% coming in. We mentioned he was academically ineligible for the first part of the season, and he didn't stay in shape, and that has hurt his game.
That's why you don't finish those shots in the lane.
Brandon Roy with his first field goal in the college game after an 0 for 7 start.
Brandon's going to be a great player here. He's just starting to see the trees from the forest, having missed so much time this year.
This game's picked up tempo a great deal.
I think that Brandon's going to bring a lot to this ball club. A guy that could score in a number of different ways. Talking to Russ Chaney, the assistant coach of the Huskies, Brandon had a great week of practice, and that's what he needs right now. He needs practice time. I mean, this whole clearinghouse event, I mean, the bureaucracy of the NCAA, it just befuddles you that it takes so long to clear this young man. And he's a great kid. He's going to be a great player here, and as I said, as he starts to see the game, he's going to really be a big impact player.
Well, when I talked to him today, he said exactly what you said. I felt good for the first time in practice. I'm ready to go. I felt really good. And you could see him kind of having a nice interaction with some of his teammates, feeling a part of it as well. We have a whistle. Anthony Washington looking bemused. Washington picked up his 3rd foul moments ago. Check that, 2nd foul on Anthony Washington. On the stat sheet to my left, I certainly thought it was his 3rd. Riley hits the 2nd free throw after the violation gives him the opportunity.
These are the kind of young mistakes that you really can't afford to make, particularly when you play in the Pac-10 against quality competition.
Ran with a nice rebound. Rebounding is really one-sided right now. 15 for Washington State, 10 for Washington. Most of those on the offensive glass for Washington State. Ran inside the paint. Unable to finish. Good rebound by Ukegu.
It's a frustration foul on Anthony Washington. Again, didn't get the rebound, couldn't make the finish, and a needless reaching foul, and that's 3 in the 1st half. He's going to have to go sit down.
You're right. Now he has 3 fouls.
I guess you knew he was going to get there.
I try to keep that skill inside of me and not let you know that I have them.
You are clairvoyant, though. You called Spud Webb when you were talking about diminutive guards, and I said, who's that guy? And you said Spud Webb. That was just phenomenal, David.
Kegu goes to the line. 5 points, 3 rebounds a game. Just another one of those valuable players that Paul Graham has been without for most of the season. And another offensive rebound, the 11th of the day for Washington State. But again, they can't finish. Here's Brandon Roy to Nate. Back to Brandon!
That was a great play in traffic by Brandon Roy to get through the traffic, get the ball to Nate, and of course now we see what we talked about, the guy that can get above the rim and finish.
See how much that gets him rolling.
That's the strength of this team, is steals and getting out in transition.
That's the call, offensive. Pilati with another turnover, 7th on the Washington State Cougars. Bobby Jones, a professional, or excuse me, student athlete charge taker, takes it, but Washington Husky fans have suddenly saw Brandon Roy at his finest with a great body control in the finish, and then pure power on the fast break. Washington leads Washington State 24-17. Brandon Roy was a top 50 national recruit. Great excitement about him coming to Seattle to play for the Huskies, and Lorenzo Romar talks about why this guy has got a little buzz about him.
Now, one of the reasons, as we talked about him playing this year or redshirting, is that we thought that he had the capabilities once he got in decent condition to help us this year, possibly to help us make a run at the end. Not only that, we think he's going to be a very good player for us in the future, and we didn't want him to start all over. And he didn't want to start all over next year and say, I don't have any experience.
And Roy is fouled here. He'll get 2 more free throws. When Lorenzo talks about Brandon Roy, he talks about a player who does everything that you don't have any way to teach.
Yeah, he's a guy that, like Nate Robinson, has the ability to change his shot, go inside, outside, has a knack for getting to the basketball, getting rebounds. He's a natural scorer. You look at a guy like Joe Shipp that's playing down at Cal. I mean, that's the kind of player I think Brandon Roy is going to be. Inside, outside, great shooter, powerful player, and maybe more athletic than Shipp. So, you know, he's got a great future.
It's quite a player you're talking about.
I believe so.
Tied for first place in the Pac-10 because of that player.
Leading the Pac-10 in scoring. I think Brandon Roy is going to be that kind of player.
Missed both the free throws. A whistle and Nate Robinson called for trying to make his 39th tackle of the year. We have their 38 on the gridiron. First foul on Nate. That is the 10th team foul, so 2 free throws now for Washington State, and Nick Graham goes to the free throw line. Nick Graham and his father, Paul Graham, the first father-son combo at Washington State since Dave and Marv Harshman.
Wow.
Most people think of the Harshman combo as a Husky combo, particularly in some ways, but it's the Harshman combo. Dave and Marv Harshman, 1970 team.
Dave, former analyst, now the head coach at Pacific Lutheran, getting back in the game.
You're doing well. C.J. Massengale. Minutes much farther down this year than in the past two.
Good hustle to get the ball back. CJ needs to get in the rhythm. He can be a good player for this team.
Bobby Jones. Beautiful reverse. And the Huskies are on a 17-6 run. They actually trailed this game 11-9. And this gets to be one of those times as Kaladi misses the three badly. Ukegu with the offensive rebound. And then a strip down low. Back out to Kaladi. And they can't find the range at all.
Lots of chances, just can't get it to go down.
Nate Robinson gives them a Christmas gift in late January, and they can't finish it.
The Bunny Fest, and they just can't get those bunnies to go down.
Brandon Roy with such ease. Boy, he is playing. Most freshmen or young guys come out here and they're playing at 1,000 miles an hour. Look how calm he is.
Very smooth player. He's an inside-outside talent. I really believe he's going to be a big-time scorer in the Pac-10. And as I said, the games of the last weekend were a blur. Everything was going too fast for Brandon. The game's starting to slow down where he can see it, he can find the holes and make plays, and you can see the confidence that this young man has.
Brandon, they were giving him a hard time today at shoot-around. They're kidding him that when you get your first field goal, they're going to stop the game because he hadn't got one in his first 3 appearances. He was 0 of 4 at the line before hitting both of those. Washington with their biggest lead and putting a full-court press onto the Washington State Cougars.
Little 1-2-1-1 extended, but did a good job of containing Washington State, forcing them to have some pressure, bringing the ball up the floor.
You've just seen the graphic. Washington State, 2 of their last 16. I guess about 10 of those are inside the paint.
Lots of short opportunities they've missed.
And Huey ends that spurt with a nice 12-footer. Bobby Jones with another penetration layup. What's getting the Huskies inside so easily, Bill?
Well, just a good ball fake, and they've got some exceptional quick athletes. Bobby Jones is one of those guys. It's like Hassan Adams, like Iguodala down in Arizona. Lightning quick wing player.
Washington State executes their offense correctly. They just can't finish it. They're playing good basketball as they commit their 9th turnover for about 20 seconds of the shot clock, but then when they actually have to finish the play.
They really miss Marcus Moore. He's a playmaker that makes role players that can help teams. Now they're searching for an identity offensively.
They're a good book with a bad ending.
They're asking Kalai to be a guy that he's not. He's a spot-up number 2 guard.
Good reversal ball movement. And Graham able to hit the long jumper. He had a foot on the line, so that's just a 2-pointer. It's a rarity. Graham doesn't do a lot of shooting. Doesn't do a lot of shooting. He did not score in their last game against Oregon.
His high for the season is 6 points against Stanford, so that is unusual.
And that was 2 threes. Jeffrey Day unable to hit the shot, and Nate Robinson pulls it out.
Roy, Jones, Robinson, very athletic, great noses for the basketball.
All freshmen. What a follow! Oh, he's magical!
That ability to make that quick second jump, unbelievable.
Good finish by Huey. None of the bunnies. I'm just going to slam one home. But check out Nate Robinson.
Great penetration, gets up in traffic, but look at his ability to get off his feet twice and tip that ball in at only 5'7". Like I said, this guy is special. There's no package quite like Nate Robinson in college basketball. Not a guy his size that can do the things, the strength of his ability to play inside and play above the rim and go up against big folks.
And he's got that other element, that competitive juice. Today at shoot-around, he's going up against Bobby Jones playing one-on-one, and Bobby Jones much bigger, and he is really handling it, giving him the business. Nate won't quit until he's ahead. Finally, they play sudden death, and Nate just says, all right, hits the shot, I win. I looked at Bobby, I'm like, how much were you up by? I was up by 4 or 5. Well, the Huskies are up 6 right now, 32-26. Washington Huskies lead Washington State 32-26 behind Nate Robinson's 7 points so far for the Huskies. Coming up right after the game on the Emmy Award-winning Northwest Sports Report, highlights from a busy night in the NBA, including Seattle native Jamal Crawford. He's down in the Rose City leading the Bulls against the Blazers. We also have post-game reaction from right here at Bank of America Arena, along with the rest of the news from the Pac-10. It's Angie Arlotti and Bill Wixie, and it's coming up next on the Northwest Sports Report. Close game for a while, 13-11, actually 11-9 lead by Washington State. Then the Huskies ran away a little bit. Now Washington State trying to peck back at the Huskies. Bobby Jones follow, and Washington back up by 8. Bobby Jones, one of the many freshmen playing well for the Huskies today. He's got 6 points.
Yeah, he's had a great half. Bobby Jones had a big impact so far with his athleticism.
The Huskies started 4 freshmen and a sophomore today as Nate Robinson made his first start and Doug Wren came off the bench again. Huey from the outside. From the Washington State standpoint, they've got most of their injured players back today. In fact, all 4 of their injured players, other than Marcus Moore, have played. So Paul Grams is at full strength, as he will be for the rest of the year. And there's one of those players that's returned today. Ukegu picks up the foul.
The big problem is they can only play in short spurts. They don't have the conditioning to stay out there. So Paul Graham constantly subbing right now, looking for a combination. They've done a good job. They're out rebounding the Huskies, but they just aren't making shots.
Conroy's free throw is good. Just 2 points for Will today, but 4 assists and 2 rebounds already. He's been very quiet, and what a year he has had in a breakout. Substitution coming in for the Washington State Cougars, number 22, Shawnee Gill. Actually, they're going to hold. No, he's in the ballgame. He was backing up like, was it Gill? Another one of the injured players returning. It's 21st birthday today. Here's Slatter trying to play the point. That's where Marcus Moore would regularly be.
Again, Washington State showing patience. That's a big part of what they want to do is control tempo. That's why they can't get the lead, let the Huskies get too far ahead of them.
Huey, who's been most of the offense for Washington State, short on this. He's got 9 points to lead all scorers. Conroy gets it knocked away, wanted a call, didn't get it.
Washington State back man-to-man. Washington just shot him right out of their zone.
Allen with penetration and a little hanging teardrop.
Great move by Curtis, is showing that he can do more than just hit the outside jumper.
And Allen now leads all Husky scorers. Story of the game for Washington State has been good offensive execution and then no finishes. Another second chance opportunity. Huey with his 7th rebound and his 11th point. He is keeping this team in the game all by himself right now. A senior from Arkansas.
He's been a warrior on the offensive glass. He's been a tough match for the Huskies.
Worked under 20 seconds left in the half now. Shot clock is off. Conroy's still got time. Jeffrey Day's shot would have counted, but it doesn't go in. Well, it was very close early. In fact, Washington State kind of had control. Then Washington started hitting the long ball to get their lead, and they've held on to it ever since. But a road game that the Washington State Cougars are still in has been most of the story all season long. Washington 38, Washington State 30. We're at the half at Heckhead. The Huskies are smiling with a 38-30 lead right now, and Curtis Allen has busted through in a freshman-only party.
They've gotten some three-point shooting from both Nate Robinson and Curtis Allen. Nate playing better in control, using his quickness. Great second effort right there. What an athlete. And then Bobby Jones had a great first half. He's only shooting 36% this year, a variety of drives. This quick wing player is starting to get some confidence offensively.
And Brandon Roy got his first field goal of his career, and then a flush.
Great finish on the break. The Seattle City connection. We're going to see a lot more of that the rest of this season.
I mentioned Curtis Allen busted the freshman-only party. He's got 8 points. The rest of them are freshmen. On Washington State's end of things, there's been one guy that has kept them in the game today.
Yeah, Cedric Huey has given them second chance points, good finishes, hit the outside jumper. He's really been the only guy that's had any consistency offensively for the Cougars. And they're really struggling to get the ball in the hole. Milton Riley showed some energy at moments, and they really did crash the glass hard. Lots of good effort, just could not finish those bunnies, and you got to make them. There they got one down, but there were a lot of misses in between, David.
There certainly were. Making plays, got to be the theme. Huey with 11, Riley with 5. Time to get the second half underway. One change in the starting lineup for Washington State. They will bring Gill into the starting lineup. That's Shami Gill, and Justin Korchmeyer will sit down. Huskies have Nate Robinson and Will Conroy in their backcourt as Nate made his first start. Bobby Jones, Anthony Washington, Mike Jensen, all freshmen on the front line. Jones with it here, had a very good first half. Washington playing with 3 fouls. Jensen, the offensive glass in the finish. Mike's got 5 points today. He's played very well recently.
Yeah, he's getting confidence offensively, starting to see the game better. I think that little stint that he had over the last couple of weekends where he came off the bench allowed him to take some pressure off and see the game better.
One of the few Husky players who have better numbers in the Pac-10 than he did in non-conference. Offensive foul called on Washington State. Nick Graham gets called the foul. 10th turnover in the game for Washington State. Well, early in the middle part of the first half, Bill, Washington State was able to slow down the game, keep the tempo as they wanted, and it got away from them a little bit, and that's why the Huskies now lead by 10. What do they have to do to get it back to that slow game?
Well, they obviously got to get the game closer. That's going to be key.
Anthony Washington with a miss. The rebound goes off Nate Robinson, and Washington State will have the ball.
They're just going to have to execute better in the half court. They got to make some shots. They got to get Thomas Kaladi going, and hopefully get close enough to Washington that they can make it a half-court game and have a chance to win the ball game late.
Sometimes it is simply as simple as make the other team take the ball out of the net. And Bobby Jones, second time tonight, takes a charge. 11th turnover on Washington State.
Really struggling to try to come with counters to pressure. Washington's pressure has really disrupted their ability to get into their offense. Bobby Jones has been one of the big parts of that disruption.
Number 3, Jerry McNair checks in the game for Washington State. Very similar to what Washington did in the same building to Stanford, to beat Stanford, to take them out of their high-low game by putting the pressure on, and then another team who was missing their point guard, Hernandez out for the year for Stanford, having to go with Barnes as their point, couldn't get into their offense.
You're exactly right, David. Same situation, and the key again for Washington is execution in the half court.
Will Conroy and the foul. Conroy's 5th point. He's been such a second-half player this year.
Conroy's done a nice job of running the club so far. He's a great slashing player, and this is the kind of plays that Will Conroy makes. I mean, he's very good at getting inside the defense. He's not a pure outside shooter. He's more of a slasher. And his points may not be at the level they've been so far this year, but I think his contribution will be even bigger because he can fill up the stat sheet in a lot of ways.
Nick Graham picked up his 3rd foul. Jensen gambles. Huey now has a fast break. But again, unable to make a play. Graham will try to shoot the 3. Huey inside 3 Huskies with a great rebound and no finish.
Again, Washington State getting second chances, just can't convert.
Gill, who got the second half start, able to hit the 17-footer on the left side.
McNair gives him a guy that can do some things with off the dribble, off the bounce, score and get inside the defense. Good substitution by Paul Graham.
Offensive foul called on Will Conroy. Saw the graphic a moment ago on the offensive rebounds. That's exactly what Bill was talking about. Doug Wren checks into the ball game. Just 1 point in the first half, his lowest single half this season. Curtis Allen checks in as well. Nate Robinson will sit down. McNair not shooting well. Tries to create, blocked by Washington. Fast break. And Conroy is playing with a slippery ball tonight. So is Curtis Allen.
They may need to check that ball.
7th turnover on Washington. Lorenzo doesn't like that stuff.
No, he wants them to attack, but attack with intelligence. And for the most part, they've made good decisions so far tonight.
Graham, short. Anthony Washington with a powerhouse board, but did it with one hand. Couldn't bring it down. Washington showing a little bit more hops tonight than we've seen out of him since that ankle sprain.
Yeah, he had his impact during in the first half, then got in foul trouble, had to leave. So Anthony's got to stay on the floor, not make stupid fouls.
They just wiped the ball down. Maybe it was, in fact, had a little perspiration on it or something of the sort. Washington with another block. Back-to-back possessions for Anthony. Conroy's on the left, and he'll go to the glass and finish.
Great transition, good fast break. Nice stop by Curtis Allen with a solid pass.
Largest lead for the Huskies. Conroy has 8 points. And Washington has come out with a great deal of intensity here in the second half, and Washington State looks like the team Paul Graham told us about, the team that just doesn't know what to do when things are slipping away from them. Kaladi with a nice shot in the bucket.
Shots have been hard to come by for Kaladi. Will Conroy's doing an outstanding job of putting the handcuffs on him.
Washington with another lay-in. 13-6 run to open up the second half, has Washington up 13. Gill with range that is not in the scouting report.
Well, he scored early before he missed some time with the leg injury, and he gives him that guy that can play inside, outside. Kordsmeyer wasn't getting it done, and it's a better match against this Washington club.
And now Gill and Washington battling down low. And a foul on Swami Gill. Second foul on Gill. Nate Robinson checks in, number 2. Got his first start today of his collegiate career. 7 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist.
And I think he's played very well. He's starting to solidify his game. Not so many wild shots, more under control, more on balance. Good execution on the out-of-bounds play. Jensen just did not go up with confidence.
They worked on that at shoot-around today, exactly that play. Here's McNair, who's 1 of 6 from the field today. 1 of 7 now. And Nate Robinson with the board, looking to run. Beautiful cross-court pass, supervision to Allen. And I think it went off Kaladi's hand. I think Kaladi blocked it, it still went in.
Curtis Allen's having a good night. Got that shot to fall. He was really trapped with nowhere to go, but just, such a great athlete. Makes a playground play and gets the ball to go down.
Allen, the first Huskies in double figures on a night that's had very good balance for Washington. Kegu, power down low.
Taking advantage of the fact that Anthony Washington doesn't want to pick up his 4th foul.
The tempo of the game's right where Washington wants it. Washington winning that inside battle. Doug ran very short.
No legs in that shot.
Never seems to be in rhythm on that shot. Now he forgets to get back defensively, and he picks up the foul.
That was a pretty good recovery by Doug Wren. That was a quick jump. Looked like a pretty good block.
Pretty good catch by Milton Riley. 2 great athletes on both sides.
Again, Riley running the floor, gets down early. Doug hustling back. Again, shows his ability to get up and block shots. Leads the team in block shots, but had to come over his body in order to do that.
In fact, he's 9th in the Pac-10 in block shots. Riley's free throw is good. Milton Riley, 6 points. He's playing for the first time since the fractured back. He had 30 starts in his first 3 years and 9 starts this year. Milton Riley's quite a story. He ended up having to live a part of his high school career with his assistant coach. He did not live in a good area. He got a violation. He get another shot at this. Tough breaks along the way. His brother ends up getting killed. His best friend gets killed over a dice game. Comes to Washington. His first year, he ends up with a tumor in his jaw and loses the year to that. Just to see him back out on the floor with all the injuries is really a wonderful story, that this guy can finally get some reward for all the work that he's put in so far. Anthony Washington's defense has let the Huskies get out on the run with a nice finish for Conroy, and the Huskies are up 9. Washington leads Washington State 49-40. Washington trying to hold on to that 8th spot in the Pac-10 race. Washington State trying to get a win. They've lost 23 straight road games, 16 straight in the Pac-10. They've lost 46 of their last 47 Pac-10 outings. Their win against Washington last year in Pullman. It was a year ago today since Washington State won a game in the Pac-10.
And that's got to affect their mindset, their confidence. And then with all the injuries, it's understandable how this team is struggling. They don't draw at home either, so they have really no home court advantage.
Not drawing is being nice. McNair, offensive foul. He can't buy a break today. Nate Robinson goes down hard. But you know, the little muscle, as they refer to him, pops back up.
Again, they play great team defense. Look at Nate stepping in, giving his body up, good position. He and Bobby Jones really, and Will Conroy. Great team defense, great help, stepping in those lanes and cutting off penetration by Washington State.
Well, Milton Riley of the Washington State Cougars is evidently warmed right back up from his injury because he just got himself a technical foul. You know you're in the flow of the ball game. You're feeling good after your injuries. And Jeffrey Day got one as well, as there was a little pushing and shoving, double technical. The Huskies will maintain possession, up 9. Trying to work Jensen in the post. He does catch it. There's Doug Wren, who had the lowest point total and a half for him all season, and he just forced the action there. Great defense, and a charge taken by Milton Riley. Doug Wren 0 for 4 today, 1 point.
Again, Doug is just massaging the basketball way too much. Milton Riley just reading drive all the way. Doug has got to pull it up and knock down that 8-footer. It's there all night long for him. He just won't take it.
Mike Jensen with the steal, and a beautiful pass to Nate Robinson while falling out of bounds, but Nate gets his shot blocked.
Nate thought he was going to drop a 2-shot foul right there. Thought he had a guy in the air.
Pilati, who's learning how to play the point with Moore out, trying to initiate something in the early offense. Instead, they go to the set. Ukegu with some power. Very big, 255 pounds.
Yeah, outside of a few misses on finishes, Ukegu's giving them some solid minutes.
He's got 4 points. Another one of the Cougars coming back from an injury. The game's down to 7. Paul Graham's team just kind of cutting away at it. Washington has gone 2 minutes and 30 seconds with just 2 points, and the offense looks stale right now.
I think Riley and Ukegu are big as far as getting Washington State back in the ballgame.
In the first half, they busted this with the outside shots. Instead, Wren this time goes down low to where he's most effective for his first field goal.
Nice jump hook, good body control by Doug Wren.
McNair able to maintain possession for Washington State.
Then there's Bobby Jones getting his hands in the passing lane.
Box score never tells the story on his game. This is one of those moments where Washington State's got to make some plays, stay in this game. They got it down to 7, it's back to 9. Instead, they turn it over.
Washington's pressure taking them out of what they want to do.
Bobby Jones will shoot 2 free throws on the pass from Nate Robinson. Boy, that was a really good example from Washington State's standpoint of why they are incapable of getting these wins, and then Washington converting on the other end.
They really want Nate Robinson to get out in the open floor. That's where he is so terrific. And even when he breaks the rules and goes past the foul line, that's okay, because that's really his game, is getting inside the defense. He made a nice pass.
Jones, who was the first recruit for Lorenzo Romar, misses the free throw. Jones shot just 29% in non-conference play, but when USC and UCLA walked into town, he got rolling right then against the guys he played against in most of his high school career coming out of Compton, California. Brandon Brandon Roy will check in for Lorenzo Romars. Bobby Jones now has 7 points, and the Huskies have a 10-point lead. And the Huskies now have 3 of their freshman class on the floor. Robinson, Jones, and Roy. And Allen with a steal. And a great block staying alive on the play by McNair. Offensive foul. Brandon Roy takes it as Schlater goes over the top.
Lorenzo Robar's got to really be pleased by the team aspect of Washington's defense here. Nice play by Curtis Allen. Got Washington State in a situation where their big guys were bringing the ball up. Great recovery by McNair. And then at the other end, again, Bobby Jones, Nate Robinson, now Brandon Roy stepping up and giving their bodies up to get that offensive foul.
Brandon Roy with it. He had his first field goal in his college career earlier today. Thrown in the mix in the middle of the year. Curtis Allen continues a hot day. 13 points on 5 of 8 shooting.
Really got his rhythm going. His confidence is back. Now running the point, but that's really where he's strong. Made a super crossover, and again, his shot confidence is back.
And a 7-point game is now back to 13.
Again, Washington State, no counters to pressure, really struggling with the quickness of Washington.
Schlater with a finish.
Solid play by Kaladi. Got inside the defense, nice pass to Schlater. And he has not done much offensively. He hasn't looked at the basket. He's an important part of Washington State's offense.
This is his first 2 points of the game. Doug Ren from Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones is having a Super Bowl game. Great defense, made some good plays on offense, and a great pass to Ren.
Foul down low will go against Bobby Jones.
Just a fuzz late getting there, right idea.
Curtis Allen has got it going.
I'm sorry, yeah, that great crossover dribble. Those are the kind of skills that Curtis Allen really showed the league over the last couple of years that we haven't seen much this year.
We have a timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. Doug Ren will send us there with an old-fashioned slam dunk and a little kiss of the glass. Huskies by 13. Little over 11 minutes left. Washington leads Washington State 57-44. And for Washington State, if they lose tonight, it'll be over a year without a win in Pac-10 play. And this little note here, fewest wins in 2 seasons would seem to be about as depressing for a Cougar fan as it could be, but Bill, it actually shows some hope.
You look at the 82 and 83 Arizona Wildcats, that's Lute Olson. He's done pretty good.
Yep.
So it takes time to get your players in position. This is the first year Paul Graham's had his own guys outside of Milton Riley, but again, the injury bug.
And the other group in there was USC, which was Henry Bibby was the last part of that year, and he was able to turn around. So there's 2 of the best coaches in the Pac-10 that turned this thing around. Look at this.
Again, good post feed, but we talked about Bobby Jones' impact on the game. His quickness to the ball, his quickness off the floor. That's why you love Bobby Jones. Great recruit by Lorenzo Roy. He's going to be a great player here. Brandon
Roy out of Garfield High School, left side to Conroy, also out of Garfield. Days, Doug Ren, all Seattle schools. Doug's having a very good second half, because after a 1-point first half, Doug Ren has 6 in the second half, and the Huskies have their largest lead of 15.
Because Doug hasn't had a big impact, no double team, he had time to get himself in position. That little jump hook working pretty well for Doug.
McNair, now 1 of 8. Milton Riley on the 3rd chance for the Cougars.
Paul Graham's got to be happy with Washington State's energy on the glass. They just haven't had a lot of finishes.
Can you teach finishing?
No.
Or is that a skill?
I think it's all about confidence, and some of it's conditioning. A lot of these guys, Riley, Ukegu, they haven't played a lot of minutes because of injury, so they get tired, and so that second effort and that third effort are a lot more difficult.
Conroy at the free throw line. I mentioned she hits the front end of 1-1. Garfield High School. There are 3 Huskies from Garfield now. Conroy, Roy, and Anthony Washington. Wilhow has 9 points. Rainier Beach and Garfield are suddenly becoming Division I factories. Next year, there'll be 5 guys in the Pac-10 from Rainier Beach. Nate Robinson of the Huskies and Randy Green of Washington State are playing in this game today from Rainier Beach.
You're going to get the Stewart twins next year at USC, and Trey Simmons, the Garfield product, will be with the Huskies.
And actually, Will Conroy started at Rainier. Wasn't getting enough time, so he went over to Garfield. And his mom's a big Garfield Bulldog. Bobby Jones, the California freshman, with a finish, and the Huskies are rolling on a 14-4 run, and Bobby Jones has 9.
Playing with a lot of confidence. The good play by Doug Wren to get the ball out early to Bobby Jones to give him a chance to make a play.
Washington State was within 7, and you felt like they might have a chance to get in it. And Washington Huskies just put the screws down there with his second field goal, 2 of 9 shooting. Roy blocked on his way to the basket.
Thought the defense was going to be on his left side. Had an easy finish on the left side. Tried to take it up underneath the rack and actually shot the ball back into the defense.
Jeffrey Day, number 4, checks in for Washington, as does number 2, Nate Robinson. Curtis Allen will sit down. So the Huskies now have Robinson and Conroy in the backcourt with Roy, Day, and Wren. That's a small athletic group. Jeffrey Day's playing the center.
Lorenzo Romar showing a very deep rotation. He's gotten a lot of punch off his bench so far tonight.
I called bank. I promise, says Will Conroy, who's having another huge second half as he has all season long. He's now got 13 points.
Will scores in a variety of ways. He just loves the game of basketball. Nobody played more basketball in the offseason anywhere than Will Conroy.
A nice finish for Huey, who's been very quiet in the second half after a huge first half.
Washington State hasn't been able to get him the ball because Washington's provided so much pressure on the perimeter.
Brandon Roy gets it ripped. Here comes McNair. Got Graham on the right side, gives it up. Jeffrey Day closes over. Beautiful Husky defense, stopping a 2-on-2 fast break. One guy, Brandon Roy, I think it was, maybe Doug Wren, stopped the ball. Jeffrey Day went to the other side. Look at this.
Jeffrey Day was a big impact player early in the season with his ability to play above the rim. Great block shot. They need Jeffrey Day's athleticism and length.
It was Will Conroy, actually, with a fundamental play. You can never stop the break unless you stop the ball. I had a coach tell me that once, twice. No.
A few times.
They also told me not to shoot.
Know your role, know your limitations.
Mike Jensen checks in for Doug Wren, who's had a very good second half.
Yeah, Doug played a really nice stretch right there. Very positive minutes. Kind of got through his bad first half and scored in the post, did some nice things.
Nate Robinson will get 2 free throws.
That's how Washington scored the first bucket of the game, running that weak side screen for Nate Robinson. And again, not too many times do you run a play for a 5'7" guy to come into traffic on an out-of-bounds play, but why not with Nate Robinson? He can get a shot off against anybody.
You get the guy, Nate Robinson, getting summoned over by Lorenzo Romar and some instruction. There was a big article today in the Seattle PI. The Romar way. These guys are playing it the Romar way, and there is no other way under Lorenzo.
He's instilling discipline in this program. That's important. Get everybody to buy in and play a certain way, and discipline's part of forming great teamwork.
Nate Robinson. Pac-10 play, averaging 11 points and 4 rebounds a game. Watch this move right here. This, Steve Lyons,
I was just going to say,
would be very jealous of such a move.
Except Steve was embarrassed, and it didn't really bother Milton Riley.
Great work on the camera. Nate Robinson gets both. The Huskies are up 18. Here's Huey. Not something he likes to do, have the ball. He's much better down low. Huskies continue to extend their defense. There's Huey in his comfort zone.
Good execution there by Washington State. They've really had a hard time feeding the post the second half, to the credit of the Huskies.
Nate trying to get the high post offense going. Brandon Roy. And knocked away. Huskies will have 10 on the shot clock. When we come back, the Huskies are up 16. Will Conroy's having a great second half. And some of it, he's getting a break on, unless you believe he called this. 10 points for Conroy in the second half. Huskies by 16. Well, it's been a big weekend here at Heck Ed. The Husky women, you see Lori Payne, who had a great game last night, and Kayla Burt, who has been through the longest month of her life, no question, and just grateful to have it after the New Year's Eve, where Lori was in the room with Kayla and basically saved her life. And the Huskies have now kind of regrouped, and they play at 1 o'clock tomorrow against UCLA. That is a big one, because UCLA in the upper part of the standings, and the Huskies control their own destiny through the women. That's 1 o'clock tomorrow. The reserve seats are all sold out, but general admission still available. It should be a rocking day here tomorrow at Heck Ed. They're expecting over 8,000. Could be the largest crowd ever to see the women here at Heck Ed be a part of it. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Meantime, Washington State's got to find a way to cut into a 16-point deficit with 7 minutes left. Here's Green, another Rainier Beach product, being guarded by his former teammate Nate Robinson. Turnover, 3-on-1. Nate's on the right. Conroy back today for the slam.
Great 3-on-1 break. Good exchange between Conroy and Day. I mean, the Huskies have done a nice job of executing good spacing and running the fast break to a tee.
And the Huskies have hit their magic number. 7-1 when scoring over 70. The other part of that number is that they are 0-9 when scoring under 70.
They've had a good offensive evening. They've gotten a lot of contributions from different people, and I think that's important.
Again, short shot down low, can't be finished. This time Huey, but Riley gets the offensive rebound. We'll go to Huey again, and they're just collapsing on him. He barely had enough airspace to be able to get up, and instead we have a jump ball.
Again here, Nick Graham slides, loses the basketball. Of course, who's in the middle of that? Will Conroy. Running the break. Great change, almost a 2-on-1 situation. Jeffrey Day with the big flush and the finish. And I think the thing I'm seeing with Washington is execution on the fast break. It's one thing to get the ball down fast. It's another thing to make a solid play. They've made a lot of solid plays.
That's why they started Nate Robinson tonight, because Conroy and Nate both can start that fast break.
It's like having 2-point guards.
Nate recovers the fumble, laterals it to Red. Here comes Conroy, and he's fouled on his way to the basket.
Now, this second half has been a Will Conroy show. I mean, he's really taken over. It's amazing. A guy that had to walk on at Washington, played very little last night. You see the numbers. He's been a big second half player, David. This isn't the first time.
He was a big second half player against USC. He was a big second half player against Stanford. In those 2 wins, he was the catalyst to both of those victories here at Heck Ed, the great Pac-10 wins that Washington's already had this season.
And he brings it in every aspect of the game. He leads, he plays defense, he hawks the basketball, puts pressure on the ball, gets in the passing lanes, rebounds, he does it all.
Missed the free throw. Up 19 is Washington. This is unusual. One thing Paul Graham kind of has going on his side this year about this club is they're getting blown out much less than they did in the early part. In the first 3 years, they had 19 losses of 20 or more. They've only lost 1 game this year by 20, and they are now, to the bucket there, down 17.
Yeah, they've really struggled offensively. I think getting these players back is a plus, but then they're not really totally ready to play. So, hey, they miss Marcus Moore, let's be honest. The guy's a great player, and he really makes them better.
Second in the league in scoring when he got hurt. Doug Wren gets the bucket, and Doug, with a nice second half, has 9 points on 4 of 8 shooting.
He's let the offense come to him, and Doug's had a nice stretch in the second half. Good basketball.
Riley. Milton Riley has played very well for a guy who hasn't played and has had a back problem.
Yeah, he's a nice player. He's electric underneath the basket. He can get off the floor. I think one thing that Lorenzo's going to be a little upset after watching the film is the fact that the Huskies have really struggled a little bit guarding the post.
Well, and the offensive rebounding.
Because of the way they've been guarding the post, they've had to help, and that help has caused mismatches on the glass.
Conroy and Lorenzo obviously having a pretty good relationship. Well, Lorenzo and Cameron Dollar and his staff tell the story. They watched the film. First thing they saw was Will Conroy picking up full court playing defense. They're like, all right, we can work with this guy. Next thing they knew, they had a great score.
And it starts at the defensive end. If you're not going to play defense, you're not going to get on the floor for the Huskies. Bottom line.
Brandon Roy checks out. Got his first field goal. There's Milton Riley. Talked about him being electric. His arms are a little bigger than they once were. When he first had to do weightlifting, he couldn't lift the 35-pound bar. When they say raise the bar in your game, he had a hard time with the weight room bar.
You got to have a little strength. It's a little overrated, but when you start seeing some of the bodies that these kids are putting on to play basketball, you got to have a little bit of ball.
Nice three for Colati. It's a 14-point game with 4 minutes left. Paul Graham's teams just chipping away at it. If Washington's not careful, they could have a single-digit game here in a moment.
Very difficult when you don't have a great inside game to play slow and deliberate like Washington State does.
Doug Wren lost the basketball on the way to the basket. Milton Riley now showing point guard skills. McNair with something fancy, but no finish on it. Allen doesn't like the numbers. He likes that shot, though, but he couldn't get it. Pretty ragged right now. Green hits the shot back in his hometown. Nice three for Randy Green, the walk-on freshman from Rainier Beach.
Kind of following the footsteps of Will Conroy. Randy Green, who was not expected really to play for this club, got 12 against Oregon this last weekend and starting to get some minutes.
It's an 11-point game on an 8-0 run by Washington State. Nate Robinson will get 2 free throws. The game changed a little bit when Will Conroy sat down. Huskies lost a little bit of their focus. He started Lorenzo Romar at the coach's show with him on the radio flagship 950 KJR, and I asked Lorenzo, are you getting the leadership? Your team's so young, where are you getting the leadership? He said, if I got one right now, Will Conroy's beginning to be that guy.
I think at some point Nate Robinson's going to be that guy, but right now he's not ready to really be the point guard. And that's Will's job, and when he's not on the floor, you see that direction kind of lose its focus.
He has had a special year, and he deserves some credit as well because he's done very well with the man who's at the free throw line. They're very good friends, which helps out to Nate Robinson. But you think about it, Will Conroy's role changes a little when Nate's out there, and he was doing just fine. He allowed Nate to assimilate. Huskies by 13. Washington leads Washington State 75-62. Is that the Romar Rowdies with Fox Sports Net? No, part of it. It's time now for our Magnolia Moment, brought to you by Magnolia Hi-Fi.
And again, Bobby Jones out on the break, filling the lane after the strip. Bobby Jones show with the check. I mean, he's done everything. He's filled the passing lane and scored. He scored off the dribble. He scored on offensive rebounds. I mean, this kid is not going to necessarily get all the allocation in this ball game, but when you talk about the total package, Bobby Jones has really brung it tonight. Very impressive.
Huskies by 13. We move under the 2:30 mark here. McNair, a guy they really needed some offense out of with Marcus Moore being hurt, has struggled. 2 of 10. This time another nice penetration. The offense works perfectly and no finish as Green couldn't get it done. Washington State tonight is shooting very poorly. 43%. It's actually pretty good for them.
Shot the ball much better the second half. Great vision by Nate Robinson in the delay break to find Massengale in the post. Nate Nate has done, I think he's slowing down enough to see the floor, and he's doing very solid things.
Free throw good for C.J. Massengill. The turnover's really been the story of this game. As Nate Robinson checks out, he made his first start today, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And I think what was neat is the way Lorenzo Romar substituted him. He still brought the energy off the bench. Oh my gosh, he almost looks tired. Never seen that look before.
That one-on-one he played before the game today. Jeez.
He and Bobby Jones, that was so classic. Nate's the kind of guy that the teammates were telling me, you have a paper sitting next to me. He has no interest in the paper, but the minute you take it away from him, it's a contest to get it back. Kaladi with a nice finish. Kaladi, another player who's been asked to pick up the offense since the injury, goes into double figures.
And it's difficult because he really is not a guy that creates his own offense off the dribble.
Massengill able to recover his dribble. Here's Marlon Shelton, the one senior on this club, getting some time and turns it over.
Injuries have really stolen a lot of opportunity from Marlon Shelton, but he's a great kid. He's made a solid contribution to this squad.
Well, for Washington State, they will go over 2 years without a road win and over a year without a Pac-10 win. For Washington, they will stay in 8th spot in the Pac-10 and try to make it into that Pac-10 tournament. The Cougars now are 0-9, so add 1 on to that. 24 straight overall, 17 in the Pac-10, 47 of 48. Paul Graham has said it was a harder job than he may have realized.
And you think by the 4th year he'd be ready to start turning the corner. I think they felt like they were going to. 5-4 in the preseason, and then the injury bug just has collapsed this house of cards, and now he's trying to get his people back playing, and they just aren't really ready to play.
Paul Graham got the job. One thing I really liked is he came with a system, and I've always believed when it's Legion games, you're not Duke and you're not North Carolina, you're not Kansas, you're not Arizona. You got to have a method and a madness to the way you play the game, and then recruit players to fit it. That's what Paul Graham's doing in Pullman. That's what Raveling did. That's what Kelvin Sampson did. I still believe that system can work in Pullman. That's what he came with. It's the Eddie Sutton system. It's worked beautifully for Rob Evans at Arizona State. And Eddie Sutton has put 13 guys in the head coaching ranks, and most of them have been very successful.
The thing is hard. I think Paul Graham's a great coach. He has a great system, but it's all about recruiting and getting some players that can play. And you have to find some diamond in the rough players, because you're not going to get that blue chip guy to come to Washington State. And you have to sort of take a page out of the Gonzaga playbook. Get players to your school and improve them.
Yeah, the Zags actually would fit my system, have a system, and then play it. The other one I'd say, Paul Graham, and it's a little bit of a battle that Lorenzo Romar's playing as well right now as Doug Wren checks out, is that Paul Graham's got a larger issue. I mean, this game was 11-9, Washington State. It was close for a while. His team has lost so much that they don't have any idea how to win. And that is something that's maybe the hardest thing in the game to teach. Because 5-on-5 scrimmages don't teach you how to win as Kaladi hits the 3. Oh my. Let's hope he's all right. He is. Thumbs up from both sides. And now he might be making the highlight show tonight on Fox Sports Northwest Sports Report.
Again, this ball's loose. Not a lot of soccer in his background, I don't think, David.
And another angle.
That should have been a kickball, first of all, but
That's why he didn't turn an ankle.
I don't think he had a chance. Yeah, he could have gotten hurt pretty bad right there. I'm glad to see he didn't get hurt too badly. Tough enough game being a referee.
Was there a banana peel on that ball?
Wow, it looked like one.
Curtis Allen, who played very well coming off the bench today.
Yeah, he's had a nice breakout game. Seven games, he hasn't done much, and this is big.
Kaladi over to Graham, but no finish. They're right now, watch. Oh, Marlon Shelton at the apex.
That's great to see. Here's a guy that just gives himself up every day in practice, comes in and gets a shining moment or two in the game.
The sharpshooter from outside, David Hudson.
As Bob Rondo calls him, the Bentley. The Bentley came out and knocked one down.
David Hudson was walking through the stadium today talking about Coladi. I think he knows Coladi's #1 in the Pac-10 three-point shooting. And Hudson looks at me and says, don't make a mistake tonight. He's the second best Pac-10 shooter in the Pac-10.
He is a joy, I'll tell you. David Hudson, what a fun kid.
How about Marlon Shelton, Bill?
Right, a page out of his daddy's book. Lonnie was a fabulous NBA player and blocked that shot. Look at the reaction of the bench. That's terrific.
Tells you a lot about that. The fun is not done at Heck Ed this week, by the way. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, the women will play UCLA. 1 o'clock tip-off. Reserve seats are sold out. General admission go on sale at noon. And there's also an auction going on during the game to support women's sports. One more highlight before we're done. But it wouldn't have counted anyway. Well, free throws. Maybe a story as well. One number we didn't give you before I want to wrap this up. Washington goes to the line 15 times. In the second half, Washington State goes once. That's a lot of it, and that's because guys like Nate Robinson are creating.
Boy, the athleticism of Washington really came out. Nate, Bobby, Brandon Roy, the future of this club, and it looks good.